All rise for another No Humping Wednesday. Julia has been found. We found her place in more 20 kg plates on the leg press. We should have looked there first.
It would have been obvious, but anyway.
It would have been obvious. But you are now going to be tried in front of the judge and jury for your crime against missing last week's session. You had a good reason.
Yes, I'm sorry to have let you down, everyone. But sometimes you have to do what you have to do, I guess.
Yeah. And how are you feeling now? You feeling better?
I'm okay. As much as I can be, I'm good.
Good. So, there's been a change up, as you may have gathered from a little bit of our build up to this week's episode. We are just having a little change of approach rather than kind of talking specifically about a topic about the fitness and the diet industry. We are putting Julia in front of you to find out a little bit more about her, a little bit more about where she's come from with her coaching and fitness journey. And some of you threw in some fantastic questions last week as well. More so about kind of balancing business, stress, workouts and stuff like that, which is actually, I think, a lot what you do, right? That's what you help specifically with.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a very interesting one. So we're glad you're feeling better. I'm glad nobody actually took me up on my my ransom offer, because I think a few people were starting to get a little bit serious.
I think I read some of the comments. I was like, oh, hold on, everyone. It's all good.
Yeah, I was like, I'm joking. Okay, please remember I'm joking. I do joke a lot in my comments. But yes, we are here finally. So as we always kick off, and it's a bit ironic because every question is going to be a secret question today because you don't really know what's coming. We had a brief discussion on kind of run through, but what I want to know, Julia, in our off the cuff secret question,
I'm so scared. I don't think I've ever been that scared. Okay, hold on.
Okay, to be fair, I saw a couple of good ones. Jamie, who's on here, he wanted to know why bathrooms have the light string. I think that's a good question, but that's for another day. What is the weirdest thing you've been caught doing in the gym?
I've been caught doing in the gym?
Yeah, the weirdest thing you've been caught doing that you think like, okay, that's not normal.
I mean, I'm not a normal person to start with.
Fair enough, at least you're honest.
I don't know. I guess I have, so in between sets, I usually have a little dance break. So I do a little dance, maybe. But I don't think that's quite out of the ordinary. A lot of people actually do the little headbang.
I have to say, I don't often see many people doing dance moves in between their sets. So it could be. It could be a weird thing.
Another thing I do with, and I teach my clients that as actually. So when I do heavy deadlifts or squats or whatever, I do a little wobble before the lift to ease off my hips. I don't want to demonstrate it, but basically I'm on the bar getting in position and just do a little.
But it is like, have you ever come across Lane Norton?
Yeah,
Dr. Lane Norton, fantastic. But he's a power lifter as well. Yeah. And I often jest, I say, look, if you don't set up like Lane Norton, you're not even deadlifting. He has this really focused mindset. He sticks his hands out, and he has to get in the zone before he does his lift. So I can understand why people might do a little shimmy, a little dance move, or a little setup. So yeah, we'll take that little weirdness. We'll take that.
Yeah, to be fair, I learned in my early days, a lot from powerlifters. So maybe that just stuck with me somehow.
You've got to get psyched up, definitely. Now, if I'm going from your bio here, Julia is a female business owner in the fitness industry, empowering women to lift weights, improve relationships with food, and transform their body and mind with a no BS approach. Now, I like that. It's very specific to the point, but who is
I really struggle with this question.
Good. We've on to a good start. Just, anything that you feel like, everybody sees your personal, your personal fitness life online, very heavily, more so, I would say, on Instagram. You share a lot of your more what your fitness routine and stuff is on there. But I don't know about you, maybe it isn't, but I find that, you know, we often have these different sites. You aren't just Julia Fischer fit.
Yeah.
So
And
who
I
are
think,
you?
yeah, I think this is why I struggle, because I think, especially you can probably tell as well, we get we have, I feel like sometimes I have an identity crisis, because I feel like I'm my business, because our business is, and our job and how we put food on our table basically is fitness. But also when people, it's the same when people say, what are your hobbies? I'm like, working out.
Leg press, Peter Rabbit, swearing.
But so yeah, I guess fitness and workout aside, I'm just a normal basic human being, I guess, who just, you know, likes a night in with some hot chocolate and popcorn just as much as kind of, you know, going out for dinner and just meeting friends and just being active in general. I don't like going out, you know, but like I go out for a drink or something. So I do try and create balance in my life with, you know, whatever balance means anyway, but not to like be through and through fitness and have to be restricted, I guess, but still be a normal person who can, you know, do you know what? It's sometimes even I like to just dress up because I look sweaty in gym wear all day, every day. And then sometimes it's just nice doing your hair, doing your makeup, you know, get dressed up a little bit, put a little effort in.
Yeah, it's so easy just to get caught up in the gym kit because it's so comfortable. It is so comfortable just sitting here in this type of stuff. So I get that. I do like it when you get to dress up. But yeah, you know, you sound very normal. You sound like a normal person.
And I am, and I think that's also one thing I try to like bring across is that fitness people, we're not whatever gods or something, right? We're just normal people who maybe have it figured out a little bit more, have some education, hopefully, for the most part.
Yeah.
And you know, and just because we live and breathe fitness doesn't mean our whole entire life is kind of surrounded by that, and we can still have a normal life. And you know, it's really nice going out and meeting friends and doing something and not just talk about fitness and nutrition and things all the time.
Oh yes, I know that. But then if somebody so normal who has this balance all together, how did you find you're getting yourself into an industry which isn't really normal at all? There's a lot of different personas, there's a lot of egos, there's a lot of, you know, very confident, you know, how did someone like yourself then fall into becoming a PT obviously initially and then evolving into the coaching industry?
Yeah, I try to cut this short because I'm aware of time and I like ramble, as we all know. So fun fact, you know how women get stronger and get into the weight room and get more comfortable in the gym, right? And with resistance training. I used to hate the gym.
Yeah.
I could not think of a worse place to be.
I'm
Literally.
sure a lot of people can agree with you on that one.
Yes. So any women, and I guess even guys, you know, but I think for women it's even more intimidating sometimes, especially when it comes to weight training. There's hope. If I can do it, you can do it.
Of course, but this is why I want you to tell that story. Don't hold back. Like we will work out the time where we will. So, you know, because somebody needs to hear that story today.
Yeah. So so before I did this whole fitness thing, I used to work as a florist. So, you know, putting little bouquets together and going to events and stuff. But basically I always had a really bad relationship with my body and food. And I liked to move. I used to like do dancing when I was a teenager, and like not really, like I was not really a team sport person, just because I was really shy and like just didn't like people, basically. Other kids. So I stuck to more like dancing or things you can do by yourself. But then, you know, teenage years onto like, you know, early 20s, I developed quite a really bad relationship with my body and had like disordered eating, like, you know, signs of bulimia and you know, binge eating, all these kind of things. And then at some point I kind of was, because I was like living a party life, like every week, at least 3 times, you would see me somewhere dancing in the club and like drinking lots of alcohol and just basically living off rubbish. And then one day, literally one day I woke up, I was like, I feel really bad.
Okay.
I'm sluggish and, I'm bloated and I'm tired. And I kind of lost my drive for life, I guess. I was like, I just don't want to, I'm just getting a bit bored of this partying and drinking. So I like to set myself a challenge, and I used to do a 4-week challenge where I turned vegan. Because I'm all or nothing, right? Like going from extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't good for me and my health. It really, really got me into an unhealthy place, like medically speaking. But that's another thing we can talk on another day about. But through all this, I did kind of gain more kind of how I felt in my body and how you should feel or not feel, or just got more interested in health in general. Then went on to like a health coaching nutrition degree to just learn more about myself. But then I was like, I don't like my job, I don't like what I'm doing. I saw other people having like building a life with helping people getting better, so it's like, okay, surely I can do this somehow. Quit my job and started my own business just like that.
Okay.
And then a few years down the line, I was kind of, working with clients and then always referring people out to personal trainers. Now at that time, I then started with a personal trainer myself and, got into the habit of, working out in the gym and stuff. However, it was still so much like women have to be skinny and have to do lots of cardio and these kind of things. And I just didn't like it. I found the treadmill very boring and I could not see the point. And even classes, I was like, what? No, I just don't want to. It just doesn't feel, it feels awkward. I feel awkward. So my trainer at the time introduced me to resistance training.
Mm-hmm.
And I really loved it. I loved what it did for my body. I loved kind of how my body started changing and shaping, but also how kind of I felt in life and how strong I started to feel and confident and more, my posture improved and just everything. So I was like, okay, maybe he's onto something.
Yeah.
So got more into it, did some of my own research and these kind of things. And then I was like, okay, I want to like partner with more women who do like strength training, but I couldn't find any because everyone was, they were using like, I don't know, 2-3 kilo dumbbells and doing lots of like things, or Pilates. And look, nothing against Pilates, but I was like, okay, where's the strong women? Where's the women, like normal women, not bodybuilding women? Where's the normal average woman who just lifts weights? They were not. I couldn't find any.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I can't find any. Let's just do it myself. So I went on, did my qualifications, certifications, and here we are today.
There we go. Yeah, it's fascinating. I did a video today about accidental intent. How most of the successful bits in my personal life, in my business, has happened by accident. But has it really? There's always been an intent around it. And from when you're talking to me there and telling me your story, I see a lot of intent, which I don't know necessarily you've gone that deep into. And if you don't mind me asking, I think one of the biggest areas there, which I can only make an assumption right now that may have triggered it off, is where you said you had eating disorders. Now, if you don't feel like you have to answer anything you don't want to, if you're comfortable in sharing it, but maybe tell everybody a little bit what you experienced there and what was kind of like the turning point and how you overcame it, because there may be somebody listening who's going through the exact same thing of fear of having to look a certain way and restrictiveness, which is kind of a big thing that we try and move people away from.
Yeah, so I'm fine speaking about it, so it's all good.
I was doing my Piers Morgan.
Wipe the sweat. I've come a long way, though, I have to say, and it wasn't always easy to talk about it, and it took me a long time to actually like talk about it, even in like a business related sense, I guess, right? But I can't tell you the exact time when it started or when I realized something was wrong. I guess it was more that when you're kind of living with people or living with your parents and you're kind of hiding biscuits and foods and whatever somewhere under your bed, just so you can, peacefully when no one sees, like, just eat and stuff your face. I guess that was when, like, my first kind of, I noticed, okay, I don't think this is normal.
Yeah.
I should be fine eating in front of people.
Yeah.
And but it got into a habit, which was really weird. And then further along the line, started, because I guess I never see, here was the problem, right? I was never overweight. I was a bit, like, maybe starting to be, like, chubby, but I was never overweight. I was never bigger, so I can't really relate to that. But I guess there was so much pressure to, like, socializing, and then, I guess any, our age and any millennial is all this, like, area of, again, women have to be skinny and eat salads all the time and do lots of cardio. And so I never felt good. I was in a very toxic relationship where literally my boyfriend at the time would tell me if I was eating something, if I should really continue eating this, or, if I, like, didn't have enough already. So, like, stop, basically. And so I guess it just started with, like, hiding, because people have been telling me off to stop eating. Media have been telling me that I'm too fat because I don't look like a, I don't know, very skinny model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I guess it was, like, a bit of shame. It was like I was really unhappy in my life. I didn't have any purpose apart from, like, partying, basically.
We've all been there.
And I guess then it just became normal to just overeat in front of people, but then feeling really bad in your body and wanting to get rid of it, right? So when I then started to learn more about food and the body and nutrition, and realized this is not normal behavior, because also you couldn't really tell, right, from looking at me. I was a perfectly normal, happy person, in quotes, right?
Yeah.
Just I wasn't. I was super unhappy. I hated my body. I remember, like, lying on my bed and just, like, this is really, like, scenic now, but, like, grabbing my belly and just hating it so much. Like, I just hated my body so much. It was unbearable at times. And then fast forward, I was like, I don't want to feel like this. Life's too short. I went to therapy.
Okay.
So first, just like normal, like, CBD therapy. She then referred me to, like, eating disorder specialists. And so I did, like, group therapy, almost like AA, basically, just eating disorders.
Yeah.
And it was probably the hardest thing I've done, was sitting in a room full of people who were struggling with the same, talking about what is going on. And you would think it's actually better and easier because everyone's kind of more or less going through the same. No. I remember my first, like, meeting, and I was like, I sat there, like, I don't belong here. These people are worse off than me. They need it more. Why am I here? Like, really, really bad thoughts. But then I, didn't go anymore. Then I kept coming, and then, you have this, like, person who looks after you. So she obviously follows up if you're not coming. And so that really did help. But even later, it's still, because I guess if you're, like, recovering from drugs or anything, you kind of can escape. The problem is you can't escape from food, because obviously you have to eat to survive.
Yeah, definitely.
So the work I had to do after therapy was, I think, even more important and difficult than therapy in itself, I guess.
Yeah. What I found fascinating listening to you, and I was kind of I'm sitting here almost like in Coach Shaun mentality. But what I found fascinating, until you mentioned boyfriend, everything you were saying was almost like hindsight. What nobody had specifically come up and said anything verbally to you, done anything physically to you. Obviously, you mentioned the boyfriend part, but it almost just kind of like what society had made you believe. But then what I found fascinating was you never said anybody did anything. It was all self-awareness, light bulb moment that you'd kind of turned it around. Would I be right in saying that was mostly the case?
Yeah, because no one actually knew that I had issues and struggled with certain things, because, again, from the outside you couldn't tell. And I think talking about, like, eating disorders, I think the dangerous part with especially bulimia is, and you can't tell, right? If someone's anorexic, you know, but bulimia it's just a normal person. And then, you know, it gets washed away with, oh, I eat a little bit more ever so often, so it's not that big of a deal. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
do you throw up afterwards though?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I guess it's a very secret thing, isn't it? Like, you know, do you know anybody that, in a sense, goes through it? And most people would probably say no. They may know somebody who has experienced it and overcome it, but not many people would say they know somebody who actually is disappearing off and doing it. You might assume, but it's not something that people are necessarily proud of saying or feel confident enough to reach out and say that they're doing it.
I think with anything in life, if you have to admit that you have a problem, it's really difficult because it's becoming real, right? And because no one knew about it, I could just hide and keep hiding and keep doing it and just don't have to face my problems, because once, you know, I start talking about it, it now becomes a real problem and it's becoming reality, and I have to like kind of deal with it. It's like if you like anything, you know, if you're constantly like running away from like your money problems, for example, they're not getting any better, you know. And it's the thing is, I think why it's so hard is because now it's real and now I have to face the, you know, consequences and actually do something about it. And it's just this like, you know, I think you and I would talk a lot about as well, like we're uncomfortable, but still it's comfortable. I'm uncomfortable in my situation, but it's the uncomfortable I know, right? It's the devil you know is better than whatever the saying is, right? So being uncomfortable with my life and my body and my situation is still more comfortable than facing my problems and dealing with them, even though in the long run it would make my life better, right?
Yeah, it's incredible that you were able to do that by yourself. And I guess a lot of people do, right? Eventually, most addicts and things like that, they do eventually get to the point. It's like, okay, I need help. And it's interesting to say, like, you didn't really know what that moment was. Like, you woke up one day, but it could have been a series of things building up to it. But it was fascinating to hear that you kind of went, yeah, okay, right now, and I'm going to take action. And you went and then you did something about it. You took therapy, and kind of like the rest is history. So, you know, it's fascinating to see, and hopefully relatable to potentially somebody that's going through it. But one thing I guess that maybe is a huge part of that, and I want to know where this has come from, because earlier you said you were shy. You didn't like people, and I get that now as an adult, but you didn't like people. You were shy, and your bio says no BS approach. We can all see it in your content, and when you talk, it's very straight shooting. It's not rude. It's just very straight shooting. Where did that shift come from? If you've gone from shy, where has that shift gone to completely going to the other end of the spectrum and just saying what you feel in what I feel is a professional way?
Lots of work. Lots of therapy, lots of journaling, lots of just like having a really serious word with myself. And, you know, because as well, I guess for me, I'm just tired. I hate the fitness industry. I unfortunately really do, because we are supposed to help people and we're supposed to make people feel better with their bodies and their health and in their life, and help them, you know, move their bodies better and eat better and all these kind of things. But here we are fear mongering that if you eat a piece of broccoli, you're going to die. Or if you have a Diet Coke, it's going to be the end of the world. And I'm just freaking tired of it. It's not that deep. You're not going to die. You know, just I guess that's for me, because also when I started, I guess I was also in this all or nothing black and white approach that, oh, I have to eat clean foods. And now I'm a fitness professional and a health professional. I can't even have a piece of chocolate. What would people think, right? And if I'm not in bed by like 8 p.m. and starting my day at like with sunrise and a green smoothie and like namaste on my yoga mat every morning, like, who am I to help people? And I guess it was really kind of dangerous for me, because now that I started to get better, and then I started to become like, you know, more professional, and then started working in the fitness industry, and my health got worse because there was so much pressure. And then kind of the eating disorder pattern came back. And then I was trying to like live up to the standard that a lot of health professionals show you. Is like, just do this and use water, but not just regular water. You have to like invest $1,000 every month to buy this fancy water. It's just water. Like, come on, right? To then hiding again and stuffing myself with donuts in the staff room of the gym, right? Like, okay, great. So I think I'm like this because I'm just tired of it. And I just generally, it's not that difficult. And we have enough problems in this world to tell people, I don't know, like doing videos going around the food aisle where like most people can't even afford, vegetables, and telling them they can only eat certain foods unless they're bad mother. Like, no. Right. And I get very emotional, but because it's just pissing me off. Sorry.
But I don't know if anybody else has seen this, and I don't even, maybe you have as well, but we've gone down not a Peter rabbit hole, just a rabbit hole. Most of this is what you've spoke about today with the pressure on yourself and the eating disorders and trying to be this poster board personal trainer is all created by society and something that isn't even real in a sense. Yeah. These people aren't actually real. These things that we put on ourselves aren't actually real. There's not real persons coming and saying it to your face. It's an assumption. And I've experienced all of that as well. You go out for dinner, you can't have a burger, you're a personal trainer. Like, it gets drilled in.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't realize actually most successful coaches, the ones who stick it out long term, are in it because they've lived it.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you've gone through, around the block, I think, is what they say a few times. What would you say is the one thing, if we're just really simplifying it, that you found the hardest being a female fitness entrepreneur, influencer, whatever it might be? What have you found as the bit that's just grinded your gears the most in that sense?
I hate to admit it because I'm all about women empowerment, and the little feminist in me is like, say it.
No, we said no holding back, judge and jury.
Because we're in the fitness industry, it's expected that we look a certain way. And I'm all about, walking your talk. And I would never take, I don't know, money advice from like a homeless person. I get that part, right? But I think people need to understand that health and good fitness doesn't mean shredded abs and like skinniness. And so I guess that's also why I'm like having a problem with it, like especially Instagram and TikTok, is because people who are the most shredded, quote unquote, who are the most naked, get the most credibility. And it's just not within my values to show you how to do a bicep curl and the camera's pointing at my ass, right? Like, sorry, no offense, but
look at my biceps. I'm aware. Sorry, I didn't see them.
Right. and it's just really frustrating me because it kind of, I get it. I wear a sports bra and shorts when training, and yes, there's like videos and stuff like that out there, but it's different because I'm still trying to be like educational, and it's like nothing wrong with wanting to show and appreciate your body. However, we have to draw the line between, this is my body, I worked hard for it, I'm going to still show you my bicep while I do a bicep curl rather than my inside of my asshole. Sorry guys.
Okay. I wondered when we were going up a level.
Just give me a little bit. But I think, especially as a female, it's a male dominant industry already anyway. So now a little female, and no offense to men, I love you, and I know it's not all men, but it's difficult making a point as a woman, especially when you promote strength training, if you don't look as ripped as that other guy who has 4 million followers but like doesn't know anything and is on like all the supplements and legal and illegal stuff there is out there. And like, here I am as a woman trying to promote resistance training, not as ripped as a bodybuilder, having to hear, yeah, you're very strong for a woman, but I actually once had a comment, people saying, if you're a personal trainer, shouldn't you be looking like one? And I'm like, that was very early on in my career. And I was like,
Yep.
you have a beer belly. Who are you? How are you to tell me? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. But I think that's the most frustrating thing. And I feel it's getting better instead of worse. So it's just a little bit frustrating to keep up and stand out these days in the fitness industry and do really like good content that people can listen to and actually learn something from, if you're not doing it, playing the game and all these kind of things.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I say I've had it as a male PT. You know, getting memes sent. You know, when your PT looks like he needs a PT. I've had it. I've seen it. And I grew up with quite thick skin. It doesn't mean things don't sting me. But I learn a lot more now that like it says a lot more about the person than it does me, that they are getting happiness from bringing other people down. Like, how sad must your life be to get happiness from bringing other people down? Like, I feel for you. If you want to chat, I'll have a chat with you. If you want to have a coffee about your life, like, I can help you. But it is unfortunate, and it is part of the fitness industry. It shouldn't be. And like you said, I think the tide is turning. I think there is certainly seeing some change to the more holistic approach and the more balance-based approach, which brings me on to the next point, because this is something that a lot of people, when I asked what people wanted to know from you, there was a lot of questions and they all fell in the same section. Okay. And that was how do you deal not only with yourself being a successful business owner who has to look after their health and has to hang out with me every other week or 3 weeks if you miss yours. How do you balance a busy work schedule and being able to look after yourself and reduce stress? Is there a secret to it? What is it that the people that ask these questions, what do they need to do? What do they need to know to be able to cope with everything like that?
Yeah, I give you 2 things, right? You have to be very organized and you have to get your priorities straight. So that means I have to plan. I color code my diary basically, and I color code it, but also whatever appointments, but also I put in training and I put in 3 hours off in the evening or in the morning or whenever, to just not have any calls booked, to not have anything but like me time. And sometimes I allow myself that a little lie-in and just looks different and every time for whatever I need. But you have to be very organized. And if you're good organizing work meetings and family meetings, please don't forget about time for yourself. Literally, you have to block out time in your diary. If it's not in my diary, it's not happening. It's including like meeting friends. I have a friend coming around for dinner on Friday. I have to put that in my diary. Otherwise, I forget about it and it's not happening. Yeah. It's the same. You have to put in time for yourself. You have to block out that 1 hour, 2 hours, half hour to, sometimes I even have to put in, I have to shower on this slot kind of thing. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
It's just how it is. So just be very organized and then just set your priorities right. You have to make sacrifices. Unfortunately, you can't have it all, right? So you can't have it all. And you have to just make a priority. Okay, do I really not have time to like watch, like do like half-hour workout, or do I just prioritize watching 3 hours of Netflix right now?
Yeah, that diary one is gold. I more so when I was working in a gym, I would put in when I was going to eat, when I was going to train. Like, it all went in within my sessions, because it's just as important. It's an appointment with yourself, and that's probably just as important as it is having an appointment with a client or a meeting. You've got to allocate that time. How would you suggest a certain type of training style? Now, we're talking potentially somebody that is busy, right? That somebody is not just making excuses. What do you do when time is tight, that you could suggest somebody that is overly stressed and overly busy via work? What would you suggest to that person that they can actually start taking action, getting something done?
Yeah, it's good, because most of my clients are very stressed, busy professionals.
There we go. Easy answer then.
During their break, they're on their phone checking an email from like something, but which you shouldn't do. But if sometimes you have to, it's okay. It's just, it comes down to smart programming, right? And you probably know that as well, Shaun, and everyone like in the industry. You just you can't wing it. again, being organized. You can't just say, oh, I have 10 minutes now, what can I do? The thought process of thinking what you can do for the next half hour during your workout, or you go to the gym or to go for a run, whatever, just a lot thinking about it already kills so much time. So knowing what to do, knowing how much time you have today or tomorrow, writing out what you want to do beforehand. It goes the same for nutrition, by the way. Pre-planning, smart programming, supersetting exercises, maybe doing a little circuit, something. It also always, of course, depends on the person and the goals and the ability and what they have available to them, right? Mm-hmm. But being organized, knowing what to do before you actually do it, right? Not going into the kitchen. I know you asked about exercise, but it's just the same for nutrition, right? Going to the kitchen, looking in the fridge 5 times, and you think, I don't know. And then you end up like snacking a whole box of biscuits, right? Because you just don't know. Yeah. Same for exercise. Just have a plan. A plan is the most important thing, literally, for anything and everything.
It's directly linked to your happiness. Planning is directly linked to your happy hormones. Unplanning is directly linked to your unhappy. If you were traveling up, for us, if we were down south traveling up to Scotland, would you check that there's petrol in the car? Would you check your tires? Would you check the route? Would you make sure you've got snacks? You would plan all this stuff out. Otherwise, you are literally setting yourself up for unhappiness somewhere along the line. Now, I've been super excited about this because everybody does like a signature podcast question, and I feel a little bit like Steven Bartlett now.
Oh no!
And I love this. I don't know if it's going to sit very well, but I could switch off after asking this.
Right.
Julia, what's one question you wish I asked you today? And how would you have answered that?
Oh, you really put me on the spot now, hey?
Mm-hmm. That's why I think it's a great signature question. What is something you'd love that I'd asked you? Now, you can utilize maybe something that we spoke about that maybe I didn't go into detail, but what is something you wish I'd asked? And how would you have answered that question?
Wow. Okay. Maybe. Well, hold on. I'm on a timer now as well, right?
Yeah.
We all know I'm really bad with being put on the spot. I can't think straight. I don't know.
That's why I saved it to the end.
Just forget my own name. Like, what's happening? Which year are we in? I guess one question is kind of, I think, very important for people to ask. Anyone in the comments have any questions? Now it's
caught you. But no, if you think maybe just build on something maybe that you were going with today,
I guess,
or just something that somebody can take away from your learnings.
Yeah, I guess one thing I want to stress is maybe, because also like a big part of what I kind of specialize in is maybe how to become more comfortable in the gym.
Yeah.
I guess.
Okay.
Right.
There you go. There's my question.
There you go. And although a lot of my clients, and not all of them, are going to the gym, but our aim is to eventually get them into the gym, is that, first of all, the bigger someone, the more muscles someone has, and the bigger someone is muscle-wise, the less scary they are usually. There's always exceptions to the rule. 99% of big, muscly, scary-looking people, men, are the nicest men you'll ever meet in your life. Mm-hmm. So if you step foot in the gym, especially as a woman, and you see all these men grunting, they're like, don't, it's fine. They're just nice. They're there to support. They're going to cheer you on. They're there to help you, like literally. So don't be afraid. Have a plan. Know what you have to do before you step foot in the gym. If you go there with your little plan and then you have to figure out where things are, then of course it's going to be intimidating again, because you have no idea what's going to happen and where you have to be next, right? So maybe have a wander around first, go to the changing room then, or whatever you do. Know where you have to be when. Have a good playlist as well. Maybe bring a buddy or FaceTime a friend for mental support. I don't know. The gym is not a scary place. And I'm going to tell you, and Shaun, can you probably as well, 95% of people who are in there have no idea what the heck they're doing anyway, literally.
Yeah.
Most of them, either are really good at what they're doing, but then these are the scary looking people who are like nice, and the other bit, they just do it all wrong themselves anyway. So don't worry, you'll be fine. Find a
And
quiet
most people are
corner.
too busy. They're too busy focusing on
Literally.
themselves. You know, you can do whatever you want in there. We've said it before on other podcasts, but you know, people are too busy focusing on themselves. They really aren't. You know, I was in not long ago and I was smiling at people, just being me, and people weren't even, you know, they weren't even actually looking at me. They were so focused. So that's about it for today. Thank you very much, Julia. Thank you very much for opening up. I think we could go a lot more Piers Morgan next time. But no, I think that there's been some lovely comments in here, and I think a lot of people are very appreciative of what you've said today. So thank you very much. I promise not to put a bounty on your head next time. And yeah,
okay.
I'd say
I should have known.
I did warn you something was coming, but I didn't say what. But no, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's everyone that's joined us live. As always, we do put the videos on YouTube, and Julia has a podcast set up on Spotify that you can find the audio link on. So it'll be the same episodes. You can either watch our beautiful faces or you can listen to our amazing voices. But yeah, thank you very much again. We'll see you hopefully in a couple of weeks if Julia's on time. And and we'll see you all very soon. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
See you later.